All right. So once again, thank you all for coming out tonight. We were really excited about this talk. We had a similar event last year right before COVID shut everything down, I think. And it was great. It was a fantastic event. We're really excited to do it again and have all our great speakers from Qualcomm. So I'm going to turn it over to Fatima and she can introduce everyone. So thank you all for coming and take it away.
All right. Thank you, Michi and Louisa, for that warm welcome. Good evening and good morning, everyone. We do have a global presence here. So it's really gratifying to see so many of you who have joined us today or this evening. It is really my pleasure to welcome everyone to our beautiful event. My name is Fatima Oz, and I am on the board of QWomen Affinity Group here at Qualcomm, leading outreach initiatives. Was there a question? Do we need to maybe mute someone? All right, thank you. So apart from my day-to-day engineering role that I have here at Qualcomm since 2005, my responsibility at the QWomen board is focused on the outreach initiatives such as this one. On tonight's program, we have three fantastic speakers, and I will introduce each one of them before they begin their talk. They are very excited to share their knowledge with all of you. I would like to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about QWomen. So I will briefly share my screen and walk you through a couple of slides. So just give me 1 minute. Are you able to see the screen okay? Looking good?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay, let's try now.
It's coming up now.
How about now?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. All right, let me just see. All right, so QWomen is a global network that's intended for women and men allies here at Qualcomm. It is present in 23 locations with over 8,600 members. So last time we had this meeting, we actually had 4,000 members. So there has been thanks to all the virtual events that we're having, significant boost in the number of the members we're having. So our global footprint has really increased. So we're talking 8,600. The following slide basically shares indicates the global footprint that we have. So since last year, last year when I shared this with you, we had 20 chapters. That has increased to 23. We do have 3 additional sites, one in France, one in Germany, and another one in Belgium. So we are growing, and this does continue to grow. Moving on, our mission is very simple. It's basically to inspire a diverse organization by providing opportunities to encourage leadership, mentorship, and career development for all women at Qualcomm and in our global communities. We do also obviously reach out. We want to make sure that we inspire young girls in STEM. Moving on, so our objectives. Well, first of all, when it comes to QWomen objectives, we are focused around the inclusion of the QWomen, Qualcomm women across the globe. We do want to make sure that we increase their representation, voice, and perspective of women here at Qualcomm. We want to encourage the leadership opportunities and career development for women here at Qualcomm. And we do want to partner with internal groups to further promote women's perspective. Within the San Diego, we accomplish these different objectives by supporting 6 outstanding programs as highlighted on this slide. So basically, to support different needs of our members, we have mentorship programs, we have QWomen talks, we have peer groups, lean-in circles, outreach, and patent diversity programs. So we have different programs that basically target different audiences. If you would like to learn more about any of these programs, please do let me know. I'll be more than happy to tell you more. All right, last but not least, we are super excited to let you know that QWomen and global Inclusion and Diversity team are working on putting together our first ever global Qualcomm Women's Conference. So this will be a virtual event, and it is scheduled to occur this summer between June 16th and June 17th of this year. All right, so I will stop sharing now. And I am now gonna introduce our very first speaker. So our first speaker is Srija Nair. She is an outbound product management leader here at Qualcomm. She manages the profit and loss for the wireless infrastructure and networking enterprise segment, and she is responsible for defining the product roadmap, go-to-market strategy, and the customer engagement. She has master's degree in electrical engineering from Virginia Tech, and she also owns 2 patents in the field of wireless and display technologies. She is 2020 YWCA Silicon Valley Tribute to Women Heroine, an award honoring exceptional women leaders in Silicon Valley. In 2019, Srija was recognized as Qualcomm's Global Inclusion and Diversity Champion for her leadership in championing diversity and inclusion here at Qualcomm and in our community. She has been a speaker, panelist, and MC at a Watermark Conference, Women in Silicon Valley Conference, Products by Women events, among many other prestigious events. Please join me in welcoming Srija Nair, who will demystify Wi-Fi mesh networks for all of us. You will learn about their advantages and significance for Internet of Things ecosystem use cases and how they make these dream smart home come true. All right, Srija, off to you. Srija, are you able to? Yes, she can share the screen, right? All right. But we can hear you.
Yes. Thank you so much for that fabulous introduction, Fatima. It's always hard to go after such a wonderful introduction. So thank you. If all of you can hear me and see my screen, can you give me some kind of an emote icon, since we are in a virtual world, otherwise we see each other. Can we get some emote icons there, please? In case you can see my screen, can we get some emote icons? Emoticons, right? I think that's a better word. My bad. Okay, I guess everyone can. So let's begin. Cheers first to Women Who Code, San Diego, and Qualcomm for continuing to host this terrific event for technology enthusiasts on a virtual platform. It has not been an easy year, and to continue to do it has been hard for all of us. So when I was about 10 years old, I remember an aunt of mine asking me a fun question. What is something you absolutely need but cannot see or feel? And I remember chirpily answering, air. Fast forward to 2020, I asked my 10-year-old niece the same question, and she nonchalantly said, of course, Wi-Fi. And if you thought it was just children, let me tell you, in a study conducted in the UK a few years ago, a majority of the adults voted for Wi-Fi as the best invention of the last 25 years. And if that did not convince you, one of my friends once told me, a secret. The fastest and easiest way to get your family together into one room, pull the plug on the Wi-Fi router. Such is the pervasiveness of Wi-Fi in our lives. Over the last year, we have seen a dramatic shift in the way we interact with our wireless networks at home. For those of you watching this session from home, you may relate to this. Global shelter-in-place initiatives have brought us to work from home, school from home, and entertainment from home, all from our computer screens, all connected by Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi has become a critical infrastructure within the home, next to water, gas, and electricity. Good evening, everyone. I am Srija Nair, a staff product manager in the Wireless Infrastructure and Networking Division at Qualcomm. My organization is focused on technologies for the wired and wireless connectivity for the home, enterprise, and service providers. In case you did not know, Qualcomm is a global leader in Wi-Fi. And because of this leadership, we play an integral role in introducing groundbreaking Wi-Fi technologies like mesh and accelerating the adoption of latest technology standards such as Wi-Fi 6 and 6E. And today, it is my honor to demystify Wi-Fi mesh networks, a technology upgrade for your home routers that are currently the backbone of your connected and secured homes. Now let's take a quick pause here and I'll do a quick check on how many of you in the audience have at least a total of 5 devices connected to your router at home. If you have 5 devices connected to your router at home, give me 5 in the chat window. Can I get a 5 in the chat window in case you have at least 5 devices? Oh, I'm getting a lot of responses. Ooh, that's good. We have an amazing audience here. Ooh. Let's increase that to 10, everyone. What do you say? 10. How many of you have 10? I saw 5 plus plus. Okay, 10 coming on. Okay, 10 is easy to beat. Let's go 20. How many 20? How many think you have 20 devices connected to your, okay, we seem to have stopped at 10. Anybody at 20? Okay. Now, thank you so much, first of all, for being such an engaging audience. I'd love to give all of you an applause in case you are interacting. Give yourself an applause, everyone, for being such a fabulous audience today evening. As the graph here shows, the number of connected devices in an average home is expected to increase exponentially to 50 by the year 2022. By the way, that friend I was talking about before has 76 connected devices in our house. Tech-savvy families, I tell ya. Now imagine for a moment that all of your houses have 50 devices connected to your router today. What problems do you think your current Wi-Fi network may show? Now I'd like to see in the chat window what some problems you think would happen if, as the number of these devices grew, as our usage increased. Can I get something in the chat window? Oh, wow, I have an awesome audience here. I already see some responses. Okay, congestion, drop connections, slow internet, not enough bandwidth. Great responses. Others, anybody? Wait for a couple more responses if anybody can think of anything. Okay, slowness, going once. And one more. Come on, audience, you're awesome. I'll get one more, please. Okay, too many disconnects. Now, can I have a round of applause, virtually for all these amazing people who responded, please? See, incompatible devices. Excellent. Yes, all those problems. Now, based on a survey conducted in 2016, almost 59% of Wi-Fi users experienced issues. The top 3 were buffering or lags in streaming, spotty or slow connectivity, losing connection in the middle of a critical live stream. Now, you also have to understand that more devices means more data. An average consumer in 2016 consumed about 71 gig of data on their Wi-Fi networks each month. By 2020, that number was expected to more than double to 165 gig per month. And with the pandemic, I'm sure the real numbers are much larger. Which means not only are we more connected, we are also increasingly data hungry. Now, if you look at the last decade, for those of you who know Wi-Fi protocols, they have evolved from 802.11, B, G, A, N to AC and now AX. For those who are not familiar with these terminologies, and it's easier to remember by the new renaming that has been done, which is Wi-Fi 0 through Wi-Fi 5 and now Wi-Fi 6. To help easily recollect and understand where Wi-Fi is trending to. Now then, we address the concerns of Wi-Fi by really focusing on improving speed in the older technologies. But when we design products, we do not think unidimensionally. We think of the problems of the average user. And I cannot think of a better example than my mom. My mom is a retired banking professional. And she's far from a techie like all of us. In the digital age, she loves staying connected with her friends and the world through WhatsApp, YouTube, and Facebook. A few years ago, I proudly gifted her one of the products I had worked on. 10 days later, I received a frantic call from her. How do I set this up? My internet does not turn on. For an average user like my mom, onboarding should be intuitive. Taking this further, the product manager in me would bucketize an average user's primary Wi-Fi needs as plug and play installation, good coverage throughout the home, no downtime, and of course, security. And we heard our users. Enter Wi-Fi mesh networking solutions. A simple, smart, and secure Wi-Fi solution to solve the connectivity challenges of modern-day networks and use cases. Let us try and understand how these work. One example would be your backend connection, say from your AT&T or Comcast or your modem device, connecting to one of these devices, which we will call the root AP or root node or root access point. This device can connect to other nodes called child nodes through an Ethernet cable. But imagine the Ethernet wires that will run across all your house. It'll be unaesthetic, right? Now, the great part is that this root node can connect with a child node wirelessly. And each child node can connect further to other child nodes, creating a mesh. Each of these root and child nodes is an independent router, which means these child nodes could be positioned in your hall, garage, garden, kitchen, and effectively, they could extend the range of your network. Depending on the size of your house, you may need one or multiple child nodes that are connected wirelessly. To validate our hypothesis of the improvement in performance, we did an A/B testing. Of course, we are engineers and we need to prove our results. So here is the result. Now consider a traditional router. That is one router connected at the corner of a house. As you can see, the Wi-Fi signal penetrates through the walls and reaches the other corner of the house. The measured speed at the corner is 60 Mbps or 60 megabits per second. Now consider the same house with a two-node mesh router system with the same Wi-Fi config as in the first case. The root node is placed at the same location we previously observed low throughput. And as such, we see a 4x improvement in throughput. Now, this is done by centralizing the transmissions away from the neighbors and around the home. Now, let's quickly delve into the key features that make these systems a must-have for every home. These devices provide corner-to-corner coverage by self-organizing themselves. They are adaptive to changing network conditions, content, and device mix in the home. That is, they are self-optimizing. They are able to reallocate capacity if a node loses connection. That is, they are self-healing. They provide robust security. That is, they recognize abnormalities and quarantine themselves. That is, they are self-protective. Now here is a quick illustration of these features. Okay, I hope that gave you a good summary of what we spoke about for so long. And the result is a phenomenal user experience. Zero coverage gaps, zero glitches, zero dropped connections, and zero buffering. Amazing, right? Isn't this something all of us would want? So what's in the future for these devices? A smart home in the not so distant future will look something like this. So imagine as Fatima walks into the home immersed in her video game. Her smart home enabled by Wi-Fi mesh network will say, "Welcome home, Fatima," and announce that Fatima is home while activating all the smart devices inside the home. As she walks into her room, the game on her mobile will sync automatically to her TV. The thermostat will adjust to the preferred temperature. The lights will turn on and the blinds will come down, thus enabling a seamless experience where you talk to your home and your home talks back with you. That is, interacts with you. Cool, right? Now, our team's vision is to make this network intelligent, interactive, connected, and secure. Connected using technologies like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee. Intelligent using machine learning, AI, computer vision, and processing at the edge. Interactive using our senses, motion, voice, touch. And of course, secure using the network and the cloud. These are the four pillars that define the next generation of our mesh devices. Another key feature that we are bringing into these devices is spatial AI sensing. A use case for this feature would be for elderly care. Think of breathing, fall detection, and motion detection inside the home, all using these mesh devices and with no cameras. By analyzing the RF signals that bounce between these mesh devices and using machine learning algorithms, we can predict the state of the space within the house. Say someone broke into your house, the signal would show a different pattern and alert you, in a way serving as a home security system. You can use the same principle for monitoring breathing of your elders or your babies. There are many more applications that our partners are integrating using this underlying technology and making the connected home a reality. Here are two trailblazing products that use Wi-Fi 6 mesh and voice integration. The Asus Lyra Voice, world's first announced mesh Wi-Fi system to integrate voice assistance. This was announced in CES 2018. Then we have the Netgear Orbi Voice, the world's first mesh Wi-Fi system with built-in Alexa smart speaker and audio by Harman Kardon. And many, many more from the likes of Google, Amazon Eero, D-Link, and others. In terms of protocol advancement, the next generation of these devices are being powered by Wi-Fi 6, which I referenced before, or is it called 11AX, and Wi-Fi 6E, which is a more recent technology. Now, what are these technologies? Wi-Fi 6 is the latest IEEE standard for Wi-Fi technology, something similar to how 5G is the next generation of cellular technology. And it fundamentally changes the way Wi-Fi operates to significantly increase network capacity, which is pretty much the need of the hour today. In a nutshell, it promises 4x bump in overall capacity, significant improvement in throughput, better coverage in dense Wi-Fi environments. And now with the latest technology, which is Wi-Fi 6E, which opens up the 6 gigahertz spectrum for Wi-Fi, we are talking about tri-band, which means 3 bands, 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi 6E products to deliver corner-to-corner gigabit wireless performance for premium content experiences everywhere. As we know, before the pandemic, working from home was an exception, and it used best effort home networking. But now, what was once an exception is the majority use case. 42% of the US workforce is working from home. In surveys, 72% of workers have said they prefer to work from home multiple days each week post the pandemic. A 4x increase in working days at home for the US workforce is forecasted post the pandemic. This emerging market of consumers wants no compromises wireless connectivity. Imagine the productivity loss when your Zoom video connection on an important code review brainstorm keeps getting disconnected. And if we add remote education or access to telemedicine and many other such mandatory use cases, it becomes even more imperative. In recent months, connectivity has proven itself crucial in areas like education and healthcare. With 1.7 billion students studying remotely and with 1 billion telehealth visits this year, digital transformation is here and Wi-Fi is at the core of it. You know that when your child's ability to clear the second grade depends on the strength of your Wi-Fi routers. We are seeing digital transformation and a digital future happen right before us. At Qualcomm, we are rising to this challenge by delivering radically intelligent smart home solutions, blending the world's most innovative mesh capabilities with advanced Wi-Fi 6 and 6E that I explained before. Wrapping up, my key takeaways for you. Surely time to upgrade your router if it's not using mesh technology. Time to get a self-configuring, self-optimizing, self-organizing, self-healing Wi-Fi 6E mesh router for your home. Wi-Fi 6, the next generation of Wi-Fi technology, is designed for modern day use cases, and coupled with 6E will fundamentally change the way Wi-Fi operates. Our vision at Qualcomm is to continue to make these networks connected, interactive, intelligent, and secure, and to create a seamless, personalized experience for each one of you. The opportunities and use cases for mesh Wi-Fi networks are stupendous, and I could not be more excited about the future. Thank you so much. Over to you, Fatima. Thank you.
Thank you, Sreja, for that fantastic presentation. Next, we have Kelly Chambache, who is a staff analog design engineer here at Qualcomm within the Voice and Music division. She holds a PhD in electronics and communication from Telecom Paris. Kelly moved to Cambridge, United Kingdom in 2018, and she joined, since then, she has been at Qualcomm, where she primarily works on the design of the cutting-edge circuits for Qualcomm Bluetooth radios. Headphones are increasingly used for different activities, including exercise, conferencing, gaming, traveling, you name it. In this talk, Kelly will review the development of headphones from the Walkman to the True Wireless Earbuds. The talk will also discuss state-of-the-art innovations. All right, Kelly, floor is yours.
Thank you, Fatima, for the introduction. Are you all able to see my slides?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that's great. So thank you, Fatima, for the introduction. And also thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight for these Women Who Code events. Really, and also thank you to the organizing team for making this event possible. So I'm really, really honored to be part of the panel today. So my name is Kelly Chambache, and I will go through the evolution of headphones with you. So first we can look at this lady on the first slide. She's currently using earbuds. She has a smartwatch, but she also has a laptop, a tablet that she's using. So basically, we can see that she has several devices connected, which is a good introduction to my next slide, actually, where I talk about connectivity. So usually it's difficult for a large group of people to agree on something, but I'm 100% sure that we will all agree on the fact that connectivity is essential. When I talk about connectivity, I'm thinking about, for example, my mouse being able to to be connected to the laptop being able to connect to the Wi-Fi, but also connectivity allow us to have this meeting today. Connectivity help us to work from home. We are going through a pandemic at the moment, and it's really helpful to have, as Srija said previously, a good Wi-Fi to be able to work from home. But also connectivity help us to keep in touch with family and friends around the world. This is a result of several years of innovation from several companies. So now we take for granted the fact that our smartphone can easily make calls, send and receive data all around the world. We take for granted the fact that our laptop can connect to all Wi-Fi access points and Bluetooth peripheral. This is thanks to the evolution of several standards. We have cellular standards like 5G, 4G, 3G. We have Bluetooth standard, and we also have Wi-Fi standards. So on this talk, I will mainly focus on Bluetooth connectivity. So as in my first slide, you saw that the lady was wearing several devices. So she had a smartwatch, which is quite useful nowadays to record our workout activities. So we can know the number of steps, for example, that we do per day. Recently, we had a challenge in Qualcomm Cambridge where we should do 10,000 steps per day, and this device was quite useful to actually record all those steps. We can use our smartwatch for localization, but as well to send and receive text messages. Another device that the lady was wearing was the earbuds. So this is a kind of really useful device nowadays that is using Bluetooth standard to be connected, for example, to smartphone, to laptop, or even to tablets. Another wearable innovation nowadays is virtual reality or augmented reality headsets. Those are really, really cool devices for gaming. Really, you should try it. So in this talk, I will focus mainly on earbuds, let's say headphones in general. I will go through the history on and the evolution of headphones in my next slide. So let's do a bit of history now. So back in the 1980s, we didn't have those kind of headphones that we can see today. Headphones were basically a single side speaker, usually big, that people would hold onto the hair to communicate. It's only in 1910 that the engineer called Nathaniel Baldwin created the headphones as we know it today. So at that time, headphones were not really famous at all. It's only the US Navy, they're quite smart, actually. They saw the importance of headphones and they start using them for defense purposes. In 1958, Koss, which was an audio lover and a jazz musician, created the first stereo headphones. So those were like this kind of headphones, but you had a big wire connecting the right and left sides of the headphones. And of course, there was still a connection from the headphones to the device, to some device that we want to listen. Where we want to listen some audio song. So in 1978, Sony, the famous company, created the Walkman. So this was a breakthrough for music lovers because with the Walkman, we were able really to listen to music almost everywhere that we wanted. And a few years later, Sony invented the over-the-neck earphone, which were kind of cool, and it was a bit of a fashion device at that time. But there was still a connection, a wire connection with headphones. In 1986, a key feature of today's headphones was created by Bose. It was the first noise cancelling headphones. This, as you can imagine, was really useful for pilots. Pilots, as you know, on their day-to-day job are surrounded by a huge amount of noise. So having some noise canceling headphones really helped them to cope with actually the amount of noise that they're surrounded by. So those noise canceling headphones were also really useful for frequent travelers and commuters because it can improve, let's say, their journeys. So it's only in 2004 that we saw the first headphones with Bluetooth. Why did we saw it only in 2004? That's because the Bluetooth technology was first released in 1999. So that's why we have the first stereo wireless headphones with Bluetooth. But it's only in 2010 that people start using wireless headphones because at their first creation in 2004, they were not viable. There were several issues with the connection, the robustness of the connections. Then in 2010, the company called Onkyo created the first true wireless headphones. What do we mean by true wireless headphones? So from 2004, we had several kinds of wireless headphones. We had these, I don't know if you notice, those are some Bose equivalent headphones. So it's wireless because I don't have a connection to my laptop or my phone. So we had the kind of wireless headphone that we use for fitness. There's basically a small wire going around the neck at the back. But for the true wireless headphones, we call it true wireless because there's no physical link between the right and the left side of the headphone. These are basically earbuds, as we call it today. So from 2015, after 2015, we saw the apparition of several earbuds and the AirPod from Apple. So people are really, really interested in earbuds nowadays. And at Qualcomm, since 2015, we do a survey that we call the State of Play. So the main purpose of this survey is to know what drives buying decisions for audio consumers. So from the 2020 survey, we can highlight 4 points. So the first point is the increase in audio device help with productivity. This is quite fair because the survey was done in May 2020, so we were right in the middle of the pandemic. So for all of you, I think, that are in this call, and me including, I have my husband at home, we have meeting at the same times, and of course we don't have a huge house as in the US. So when he's talking, I can hear that. So we really need to have good audio quality to be able first to listen actually to our meetings, but also we are really interested, as we can see in the fourth, the point at the bottom, it noise cancellation. This is a really key features because it can reduce the amount of noise around you. So another important point is the fact that people are really nowadays interested in going wireless. So we want to have the flexibility of, let's say, moving around the house while listening to our audiobook or to even our meeting. So for example, when you are in a meeting with your boss and you have, let's say, your food delivery, because at some points we were not able to go outside to buy some food, you cannot just drop out of the call. You need to go pick your food, and this is easily done with wireless headphones. There's also a big increase in people wanting to own or at least people having the intention to buy earbuds. So those earbuds actually that people really want to use nowadays are important for several kinds of activities. We have the workout type of activity where, for example, you want to go for a run, you wear your earbuds, definitely because of the noise surrounded when you run. You want to have a kind of noise cancellation to listen to the music while you're running, but you also would like to have the feature of having a leak through so that you can listen to small, let's say, noise outside. You can cancel the noise, but you can listen to some of them in case you have a hazard coming towards you. Of course, productivity is the same as for headphones in general. So we want to have good audio quality with our voice calls. This is really popular with True Wireless use cases. When we travel, of course, now with COVID, it's a bit tricky to travel, but let's hope we'll get back to normal in a few months. So we want to have comfortable earbuds, but also earbuds with a long battery life so that we can listen to our music or watch our movies during the whole flight. Earbuds are also gaining popularity in the gaming type of activity, and we can see that 50% of the surveyors use wireless audio while gaming. And the last type of activity is live conversation. Let's assume you are in a pub are normally, at least in the UK, busy. I don't know in the US, but in the UK, pub are really noisy. So what people want is hearing enhancement. What does it mean? So it means that when you wear your earbuds helps you to cancel the noise around you and focus on what people sitting next to you, your friends or family, are saying. So this is actually a really great feature. So let's see now how those earbuds works. So earbuds are also really greatly improved across the year. And those improvement and innovation were driven by 3 challenges. The Bluetooth address management. So what do I mean by this? So when I have my smartphone and I want to connect my earbuds, so these are not earbuds, but let's assume I have some earbuds. So I want to connect my smartphone, my earbuds to my smartphone. I would like to see when enabling my Bluetooth, let's say Kelly earbuds. I don't want to see right earbuds or left earbuds. I want to see them as one unique pair of device. So Bluetooth address management is one issue. The other challenge is the robustness of the connection between the earbuds and the Bluetooth device, the other Bluetooth device. So you don't want to have glitches or interferences. And the last challenge is to allow the maximum type of user behaviors. Let's assume, and for that, for an unknown reason, I have my 2 earbuds, but one side is charged, the other one is not. So I want to be able actually to use the one which is charged, right? This is fair, you pay for that. And in case you lose one side of the earbud, you also want to be able to buy only the side that you've lost. You don't want to buy another pair of earbuds. This is not good for environment, and it's not economical as well. So at Qualcomm, we've worked on several true wireless technologies. So the first and second generation are Qualcomm True Wireless Stereo. So for the first generation, we have the smartphone and the earbuds. The earbuds have fixed role. So your smartphone won't be able to see your 2 earbuds. The smartphone only see the primary earbuds where there is a connectivity. So that's why you see a link between the phone and the earbud. And then the earbud, which is connected to the phone, will relay the data to the second earbud. So this is what we call a full relay. The issue with that is that we're using twice, so the double amount of bandwidth with Bluetooth technology. So in order to reduce the amount of bandwidth, we have the second generation of True Wireless Stereo, where the phone is still only connected to one side, the primary earbud, but there is a half relay where we decide to send information to the data only when it is required, so that we can decrease the amount of bandwidth required. Another technology that we've developed at Qualcomm is the Qualcomm True Wireless Mirroring. For this one, we can dynamically swap between the primary and secondary earbuds. This is to allow robustness, and we have a good synchronization between the left and right earbuds, but also we have eavesdropping, meaning that the secondary earbud is listening to the primary one. And because we cannot guarantee eavesdropping, when it's not working, there's only a selective relay of data between the primary and the secondary earbud. So that's how those earbuds work. So with this evolution, we can see that we have different eras of true wireless audio. We have the first era where people were really chill. They just want earbuds to call and listen to your music. And then we start being more demanding. We want to have long battery life. We want to have small earbuds. We want to improve the audio quality, but also we want some features like noise cancellation. Nowadays, we are in the third era, the true wireless age, where consumers are really, really demanding. So we want all day wear, we want multi-location and multi-use, we want a whole bunch of features, and it's quite challenging actually for designer to fit and meet all those features. The good news is that the Bluetooth standard is evolving and it will help to cover new features, some new features. So we have the Bluetooth low energy audio, which is a game changer in the earbuds technology. So on this slide, you can see those two children. They are wearing earbuds. Definitely they are enjoying what they're doing. They're listening to music. I guess it's DJ wireless. But the key point is that there are two children wearing different earbuds. It's not one side, there are two earbuds for each child. And they're listening to the same music. So it means that with Bluetooth early audio, we can connect one smartphone to several earbuds. This is just awesome. It means that you can share your music with your friends and family. So I remember myself when I sometimes travel with my husband, we are always taking the phone, using wired headphones, and just trying to listen to the video or the song that we want to listen to. It's just a nightmare sometimes because you listen here and you have a big amount of noise there. So it's not really practical. But with this early audio feature, this is just awesome because we have each of us his pair of earbuds and we just listen to the movie or the music. So audio sharing is one of the key capability, and it's the one that is really excited me for this new technology of Bluetooth. So the other use case of early audio is, for example, audio sharing, location-based audio sharing. So location-based audio sharing, what does it mean? What is it? So it means that you are, for example, in a museum, you're a group of people, group of visitors, and because you have headphones, you can all listen to the same audio or same instructor while visiting the museum. This will definitely improve the experience of people. This is the same, this example can also apply in conference centers. And the third case, which I think is is also really, really powerful, is let's say you are at a bus stop and with early audio, you can broadcast the arrival of a bus to people with decreasing hearing capabilities or sight. This early audio is really, really powerful and will really help people developing the hearing aid part. So with early audio, we'll have a robustness connectivity, we'll have a great sound quality, and we'll have, of course, a low latency performance. So this will be great. And this feature will be supported as well by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 mobile platform as announced previously. So the Bluetooth audio was announced by the Bluetooth Special Interest Group, but we still need to wait for some profiles to be ratified. So while waiting, at Qualcomm, we are working on some new system on chips so that companies designing earbuds can nowadays start working and design early audio capable true wireless earbuds. So our goal is really to have the maximum of features available, like audio sharing, hearing enhancement, voice assistant on the go, so that we can ease and improve the life of several people around the world. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to your question. Thank you. Hands over to you, Fatima.
Thank you, Kelly, for that fun walk through the evolution of headphones and also informing us about the latest state-of-the-art earbuds. Next, next we look forward to the presentation by Jine. As senior staff engineer at Qualcomm Research, Chavi is contributing on the research programs primarily focused on artificial intelligence. In this capacity, she works with scientists and engineers developing state-of-the-art technologies with focus on machine learning techniques optimized for low-power mobile devices with a view to bringing human-like perceptions to smartphones, robotics, Internet of Things, and automotive applications. Chavi has also worked on various 5G research projects, primarily focused on virtual reality, 5G small cell, 5G mobiles, and vehicles communications for autonomous driving vehicles. A holder of multiple patents and IDFs, her passion has been pushing and redefining the leading edge technologies that impact how people communicate with each other and lead a better life through better healthcare, road safety, education, and entertainment products. Chavi earned her Bachelor's of Engineering degree in Information Technology from MDU University of India and has also done MBA from Indian University of Management in India. As you all know by now, 5G and AI research is really shaping the future of tomorrow for many different sectors, and Chavi is here to tell you all about it. Over to you, Chavi.
Thank you so much, Fatima, for that kind introduction. So let me directly move to the slides. So I'm so excited to be here today with you all, and thanks a lot for joining in from so many different time zones. So I want to do justice to your time. Let me check the clock right now. This is supposed to be a 20-minute talk, and I'm trying to transport you to the future during these 20 minutes. So be open to anything that I want to tell you, because these research projects are not just on the paper. They are all established projects, and they are already shown to be working in some form of demos. So believe it or not, but this is coming to you in pretty near future. So what I mean by saying that, I'm taking you to future, right now, the two most revolutionary technologies of our times are 5G and AI. The reason that I call them the most revolutionary is any talk about technology right now is incomplete without these two words. So you will always hear machine learning, artificial intelligence, or 5G dropping in somewhere on any technology talk you hear about. So these are the two most interesting areas that all of us are working on. The reason for that is because these technologies are not just changing our physical world, they are changing the words that we don't even know about. So they are creating new words for us. Right now, we are aware of the physical world. We are aware that, as humans, of all the experiences that we see and feel, and we capture them in the form of photos or data or something on the computer and laptops. But we are not so aware of the virtual world as of now. So probably, we are not aware, okay, how can we transport ourselves to some maybe jungle or some sci-fi fiction movie when we are sitting in our living room, and how do we really feel that experience. So these devices are actually going to give us that sort of feeling where our world will become augmented with virtual reality. We will feel the experiences that are not really there, and we will think, our mind will think that those experiences are real. So this is pretty cool if you ask me, and our senses are going to be also augmented. We will be able to hear better and see better with these devices. So let me highlight the contribution that Qualcomm have been making to bring us to this piece that we can even talk about such things. So Qualcomm have been contributing to the mobile innovation over 30 years now. We are so well aware of our first mobile headsets that have very small screen, and we were just able to make calls through them. And then we moved to the text messaging, and then we all moved on to social media. And now we are saying, no, that is not enough. We want our cars to drive themselves. We want our homes to talk to us. We want our watches to do much more than they just showing time and whatnot. And this is thanks to Qualcomm for telecommunication and leadership in the embedded devices that this is becoming reality for us. Qualcomm is at the forefront of 5G and AI for embedded devices. So let me showcase some of the projects that we are working on the 5G side for the research projects. So 5G is going to be everywhere. This is a vision for 5G that Qualcomm shares with many other companies. We will see 5G to be there in public networks, in fixed wireless access, in private networks, in massive IoT, indoor enterprise, smart transportation, and XR, which is basically virtual and audio reality. And we will see that our factories of future, we will not need any human labor per se. All the work will be done by the robots, and we can just sit at home and we can just analyze their progress. So let me put this to more concrete sense. We see that 13.1 trillion global economic value industry is waiting for us to unleash the power of 5G and AI together. And 5G ecosystem is expanding everywhere, from agriculture to mining to education, health sector, mobile experiences, manufacturing, retail, and smart city. Let me give you one example of each of these use cases. So for example, in the agriculture industry, we think it is a $416 billion industry that is there, and which we can tap into our research projects, going in first. So we want that, our farmers' tractors and tools and equipment will be smart enough to figure out what to do in certain situations. And they can be autonomous driving vehicles. They can be auto decision making things. Similarly for construction and mining, and who don't know about the digitized education today, like corona times are probably the times that made this awareness to every single home that we want digitized education. But it is not just the digital education that we want our teachers to be at home, literally, through the virtual telepresence softwares. We will feel the presence of people who are not around us in pretty near future, and we will see the devices that are able to guide us through each step of training process. They will literally be like sci-fi movies. You can be able to pull up some kind of maps and things around you, and you can see different type of pop-ups coming to you. For example, in this case, you will see that there is a pop-up which is literally visible through your eyes coming in the thin air. And similarly for connected healthcare industry, you will see that doctors will be able to do operations from remote location. Because it is going to be so precise and accurate, the robotic arms and the analysis, and it is going to be so low latency that literally you can operate people from outside that area. And similarly for the mobile experience, you can zoom into the reality. If you're sitting in a big stadium and you're not able to watch something on the ground, you will be able to zoom into the reality and see it up close. And for smart manufacturing, you will see that robots are able to do their work very precisely with the location, precise positioning. And intelligent retail will allow you to try out things sitting at your home. You can literally, post your picture, or somehow you are able to try out that purse that you wanted or the dress that you wanted without literally going to the mall. So this is going to change at such a smart and high pace that you won't even realize that this is happening around you. In fact, some of the most advanced retail stores you will see right now are giving you product recommendations based on what you're buying. So you will see, 5 product recommendation, and this is all happening through AI right now. And because 5G is providing all the support to AI, so these two together are building smart cities for us. So a smart city is nothing but the city that really don't need humans to make every single decision, but the city itself with its infrastructure will be able to make decisions for us. So let me deep dive into that industrial use case. You see, the supervisor had the handheld device, and all these robots, they are not connected through wires. They are connected wirelessly, and that is all thanks to 5G because it is ultra reliable, low latency network, which also means that you can produce one product during the day and a totally different product during the night, because your factory is not wired in that sense, and you can move these things around. They will just walk themselves to the new configuration, and they will have so many sensors for data collection, which will be on the private network, which will be 5G owned. So your factory's data is not going to be go out on the public network, so no issues with the data security. And with the computer vision and AI working together with that sensor data, you can even train your staff for the new use cases and prepare them and do the R&D with this. So the capacity of these two technologies is tremendous. If whatever industry you work on today, you can just apply these two technologies and make them futuristic. The one most favorite use case that we want to talk about is the safety of people around us, and we are all aware of that. Traffic accidents and traffic jams and how much pollution that gives us because the traffic is not managed properly today. So we see that there are 1.35 million people dying each year, 305 billion money lost in dollars just because of traffic inefficiencies and a huge pollution for that. So if we can manage this traffic scenario through these two technologies, then I think the battle is half won already. We are contributing in all important sectors already then. So to do that, we have a car-to-car or vehicle-to-vehicle communication technology where cars are not going to talk only to other cars. They are also going to talk to infrastructure around them. So they will be knowing, okay, the pedestrian is about to cross the road. There is a car which is in your blind spot that is about to cross the speed, with a higher speed limit, or there are some kind of hazards around the road which you are not able to see, but which your car in front of you is able to see. So there is a lot of communication that is going to happen between vehicles, between infrastructure and all these devices, which will pave the way for autonomous driving vehicles in future. But right now it will make your road safety primary thing that first we want to deliver. And not just that, this vehicle to vehicle or V2X as we call it, because it is vehicle to infrastructure, vehicle to person, and vehicle to vehicle. So we say it as vehicle to X technology. It will allow you for better road safety, as I explained earlier, for collision avoidance, obviously. And it will also give rise to smart city because somebody can collect all this data and they can allow the monitoring and advisory of this data to better manage your road traffic for better lane-based navigation. And also it will give you chance to do your automotive service more easily. So instead of going to service for every 30,000 miles or 10,000 miles or these many months, your vehicle itself will tell you when to service it because it will be able to check its own health and give you alarms based on its health. So this is the huge saving in terms of cost because the recurring cost will be avoided when they are not needed, and you will be able to analyze data to know where to pour the city money into. this is, much more on the broader sense. But if you talk about a human experience change, as I was talking about, the augmented reality, this is something which is very authentic and which will basically feel that this girl in Istanbul is going to work with her colleague in some other location, and they two are actually working on a project which is basically happening in the virtual telepresence way. And when they are cutting this piece of cloth, they are actually able to visualize how the dress is going to shape up with every single cut. So this is the power of boundless XR or virtual reality. And this is all happening through these glasses that they are wearing, that they are able to, see each other, although, they are not in the same space. And they are also able to see this dress that is coming into space. This is a very simplified use case of this application, but if you will start imagining, this has huge potential to be taken to any training ground or to any industry. And all of this is going to happen through this, XR glasses. They are so power packed and they have so many components on them. The most important components that I want to, mention here are obviously the 5G, because in such a smart glass, you don't want it to heat up or you don't want it to be bulky, but you want to process the information as fast as you can. So for that, you need 5G connection. All the data will be coming to this glass, but it will eventually send it to cloud, where all the machine learning algorithms will run. It will give the processed information to this glass and all the sensors, cameras, speakers, and even it will allow you to talk to a person who is communicating with you in a different language. So it will have some kind of speakers that are going to translate that information and allow you to talk in real time with the person who don't even speak your language, and it will allow you to better hear things and even to record things. So if somebody, your company is sending you on site to do something, they can record every movement that is happening and they can use it for training purposes or tracking purposes later on. So the bone conduction transducers is the one actually that is allowing you to change the language that somebody is talking real time. And you can hear much more better after you have these goggles because they can hear the sounds that your ear can't. So you can imagine the possibilities with this kind of XR glasses when they work with 5G and AI processing together. The another use case that 5G have is private 5G networks. Like I was explaining in the smart industry use case, you want your data to be private. You don't want that data to be on the public cloud because you want it to be secured and you want your personal information to stay with you. So that is basically possible with the 5G private networks. 5G allows you to have your own network setup because it is just so easy. And with that private network setup, we see that there is $100 billion industry in almost every sector possible. And you can, do all the things that I was talking about in the previous slides with these two technologies. The best part about this is actually Qualcomm is giving you a system level integration of all these components. So if you don't understand, what I'm saying tonight, how 5G works or what are these use cases in detail, you don't have to worry about, okay, what is millimeter wave, what is sub-6, what is this component, how sub-6 gigahertz work, because Qualcomm is going to give you this as a system which is integrated and which is ready to be used. All you have to do is take it to your industry and start using as a 5G modem. Now, moving on to AI, basically when 5G and AI work together, they become so much more powerful because AI gives the control of perception, reasoning, and action to the devices that are not alive. They can perceive, they can see things around themselves, they can reason about things, and they can take action based on that. So let me quickly walk you through on some of the use cases that we are working on. The first use case that we want to make sure is happening around us is power efficiency. Obviously, AI is great, and you would have heard in many talks about that. But AI right now is not so much on your handheld devices because it is not power efficient as of today. AI models are big and they are data hungry and they are compute hungry. So in Qualcomm, what we are trying to do is to make them power efficient through different use cases and personalize them. So your device should know you better. It should know how you wake up, when you go to your work, and transform itself based on all those things. So this is about reasoning and personalization and efficient learning. So every day it should keep improving. If it is giving you some kind of robotic chat, that chat message should keep improving for you. We are working on all those research projects in Qualcomm. The main projects are compression, quantization, and compilation. So if I want to quickly sum it up together, basically here we are trying to prune the model and make it smaller. Here we are trying to reduce the bit width of the model from FP32 to int8. So it is using much less memory and much less power. And then we are compiling the model based on your hardware to make that model run much faster on your given hardware. So all of this is happening for embedded devices with AI use cases in mind. Now, the quantization, as I explained, in the earlier slide, we are taking the models from 32-bit floating point to 8-bit integer, and it is giving us up to 16s performance improvement, which is huge if you see that, because your information is quantized and it is giving you exactly same performance as before. So you are losing nothing, but you are gaining more performance. We have all this information available in terms of open source projects, in terms of commercialized projects, and in terms of papers. So you can always go to Qualcomm AI Research to check more information. And this is an open source repository. Basically, the AMET is the name of this toolkit I was talking about. AI Model Efficiency Toolkit. You can go to this link and check and use this yourself for your use cases. And let me quickly move to another areas that we are trying to basically work on for the embedded devices. So speech or video compression, text compression, graphic rendering, computational rendering, and the voice UI. Basically, what we are trying to say here is all the use cases of future either involve text or speech or video. And if we can compress them, quantize them, and perform them better on the handheld devices, then we have a future of devices that we envision. And this is all going to happen in the unsupervised learning space. So Qualcomm is not just working on the supervised learning, but also on the unsupervised learning, which is a much bigger untapped territory. So one of the examples that we are doing this unsupervised learning in is the VAE. This is the variational autoencoder, where we are able to compress the audio sound quality to 2.6 times as compared to the state-of-the-art algorithms, which are already working for many years, but we are doing this much better for the AI use cases. And last but not the least, this is the program that we have, which is a Qualcomm State of the Art. This is the generalized CNN, where your images, when they are going to come to your cars or to drones or to your the XR devices, they are not going to be flat 2G images like you see on your social media. They are going to be transformed. They are going to be rotated in different positions, and AI algorithms today are not ready for that. So we are actually working on some state-of-the-art technology to make these transformed images be computed in a better way and make them useful for our autonomous driving vehicles and many other projects. So that's all. So this is in a nutshell what we are doing, basically AI power efficiency, doing the research for all the leading edge technologies and creating AI platforms for innovation. So 5G and AI together, I believe, is the future. And if you want to learn more, you can go to qualcomm.com AI research. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chavi, for this really fantastic coverage of 5G and AI. So I think, Michi, we can open the floor for questions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We are like just at that line of whether people should just unmute or raise their hand. So I would say, everyone, if you have a question, let's go with raising hands. So in the reactions part, it looks like most people have already seen that, but there's like where you can do the thumbs up, the clapping, all of that. There's a little raise hand button. So if you have a question, either throw it in the chat, and Lucy and I can help moderate, or please just raise your hand and you'll be able to unmute and ask yourself. I actually think that Leslie had put in a question in the chat at one point, for, I think it's for Kelly. She had said, sounds like the technical work for audio sharing is done. What type of timeline for that is there for that to be available to consumers?
So because we're waiting for the standard first to be released, so let's say it's releasing this year, I think by end of next year, we'll start seeing some new devices with this kind of early audio features in our earbuds. Yeah. But definitely depends on when the Bluetooth early audio standard is definitely released.
When that gets released, how long does it take to get that adoption everywhere? I imagine Qualcomm doesn't have as much control over that.
Yes, it all depends on companies building the earbuds, right? Because if you're a company, you're building everything from scratch. It can be, let's say, it depends actually on your engineers and the test development it takes. But usually it will take at least a year or a year and a half. But the thing is, because we're always working ahead of technology, it can take less time. So yeah, but at least a year, let's say.
Makes sense.
About the earbuds. So, since no one else is asking questions, I'm gonna go for it. Losing one earbud is a really big deal for me. It happens a lot. My question is, do you have I'm assuming that there's that Qualcomm chip that you talked about. Do both of them are both of them essentially identical earbuds that just have like different outer casings? Is that the idea behind having them both be able to work independently regardless which one you lost? Or do you always have to go buy that second one?
So are you talking about the new feature or the old generation of
The new one. I know the old ones don't work that way.
Oh,
the new ones.
With the new ones, normally what you should be able to do is to connect directly your phone to each earbud so that you can easily actually stream your music to each earbud. And of course, they're using the same chip for each earbud.
You mentioned that they wouldn't show up on your phone as right ear and left ear. And so that was that mirroring, right?
Yes. For all the previous technologies, definitely yes.
Okay.
But for the new technology, definitely, I'm not working on this side of the development, but we should be able to see the left and the right side because those two earbuds will be connected to the same device. We will have this direct link. Yeah.
So for the new technology, each earbud would have, there'd be two Qualcomm chips for both of those earbuds to work, right? Each chip is completely independent.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so cool when that's out. Does anyone else have a question? Again, you can put it in the chat. You can raise your hand. You can probably just unmute.
I have a suggestion. We should put also a GPS device inside the headphones so that Leslie can go and find them.
I totally agree. It's a nightmare to find them sometimes.
I have tile on all my things now, but I think a tile would be really big on the
headphones.
Yeah. I
So
do have a question.
Go ahead, Mitchie.
It was actually me trying to ask another question.
Go for
Oh,
it.
yeah, sorry, Leslie, go ahead, please.
This one's for Chavi. So we were talking a little bit in the chat about the cars and all of the communication between the cars, and it also sounded like, say, the car in front would be able to communicate with the car in back if everything's compatible, right? And someone mentioned that this would be a field day for InfoSec, and right, so like there were the Spectre exploits a few years ago when that was down in the hardware, right? That was in the architecture chipset. And so I was wondering, like how much is Qualcomm thinking about that security in the hardware portion?
Oh, that's a very important question. And in fact, that is the most important question to be answered. So for example, the demo that we did for the CV2X technology, vehicle to vehicle communication, was for the ambulance. So what we were trying to show that ambulance right now has to although get, all the lights manipulated properly by the traffic team, still you don't know when somebody is going to jump in front of that ambulance. So at least driver have to watch out. It has to look around the corners and then proceed with that ambulance driving. So what we are trying to achieve is that some of these very important vehicles are actually not able to stop at all, and they are able to communicate and see through the other vehicles. So that is going to be the first use case. And because that is going to be the very reduced test case of all the cases that we are thinking, so it is much easier to make it more secure, because in this case everybody else is just the transmitter and your ambulance is the receiver. And because you have only one receiver in the system, so there is no chance of eavesdropping on the signal, or literally kidnapping somebody, because you already know where your other car is traveling and following through them. So that is not going to happen, because these signals are going to be pretty secure. They are going to be encoded over the air, and when your transmitter and receiver are communicating, they are pretty aware of with whom to communicate. They are not going to broadcast these signals to everybody around them. Yeah.
So I did have a question for Srija. So you got me all excited about that dream smart home. So what is the timeline?
I think I got you excited, Fatima, because I told you, it's your name that I used also.
Yeah,
I think there was a hook there.
definitely. So I just want to know, when can I have it?
It's actually happening as we speak as well. There are partners. A lot of our partners are integrating things. For example, two of the products that I showed you were revolutionary products. Think of right now, it's kind of disintegrated, the whole thing, right? You have a router, and then you have a zillion other IoT devices which are all doing individual things. But what you want to do technically is you don't want to have so many devices in the home, but you want to have, combine them all into one. So you are seeing that, technology coming together, and there is consolidation happening. And at this time, we are working with our partners. So there are partners like Origin Wireless is one of our partners, Cognitive Systems, and that's where the AI piece of it was coming in. So what they're trying to do is, we provide the underlying architecture. And this is where I was explaining about, your RF sensing and applications for that. So what we do is from our code base, from our software architecture, and in the hardware, what we're supporting is RF signal detection, and till that layer, how do they get the stats, etc. What they build on top, how they extract those stats and build applications, is what these customers are doing. And it's happening as in terms of the products that are there. There were two products listed. In addition, there are other products that were demoed at Computex, where they showed this fault detection, etc. You can see it on YouTube. So very soon. So to answer your question, it might be as soon as maybe a couple years down the line, where you have these kind of homes becoming normal. And with the ecosystem also, ecosystem matters. So you will see a lot of the players that are there, right? There are, you must have heard a lot about LoRa, and then Amazon having its own ecosystem. Now, everyone's trying to bring things together, and that's helping drive these products as well. So together, I think the industry coming together is making our dream smart home a reality.
Yay. Thank you.
Exciting times, yes, thank you.
Guys, do we have any other questions? Oh, it seems like there is a question for you, Chavi.
She wants to know the Twitter handle for Chavi.
It looks like there was a Twitter handle on your first slide, but I think I copied it over wrong because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I don't generally go to Twitter.
So there was like an @ that was just, you were just teasing.
This is just for the Qualcomm, that.
I think it's just a standard template.
Yeah, this is
standard, the user ID.
User ID for Qualcomm. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Looks like we have a question from Anne for Chavi. It says, you had a link to a GitHub account we can take a look at. Can you please share that?
For sure. Thank you so much for your interest. And in fact, we want a lot of contributors in open source.
Oh, you got muted, Chavi. You got muted.
Oh, yeah. I was saying that thank you so much for your interest. We are always interested in open source, contributions. And let me share the link with you. And in fact, you can ask us questions and you can really be part of this journey with us. So yeah, let me copy paste the link.
Thank you. I definitely I love the focus on security for what you're talking about, and then but also the ecosystem, because like Shrija, like when I see that smart home, like I get really excited, like that's the home I want. And then but then I do go to Twitter, and then like I look at InfoSec Twitter, and then they make me afraid to even have Wi-Fi in my home, right? Because they make it seem like people are trying to hack into your home every day, and how dare you have a toaster connected to Wi-Fi? It's going to become a bot, and so it's really great hearing about like these things that are coming up, so that you can have this really awesome smart home that I've been dreaming about, I think, since like Smart House, that Disney Channel movie from the 90s, without worrying about everything getting hacked. So I'm super excited about everything.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting to see, because when we were growing up as children also, we saw this, the smart home has evolved. When we saw the smart homes when we were in school, they were simple lights turning on and off was a big deal. Now that's not a big deal at all, right? We've come so much forward from that, where it's robots doing things, and everything, they're just Roombas are everywhere. So we've come so far, and every generation just expands that, and technology aids that. I also want to highlight, it's about how we as a generation and how we as people think about these use cases, and that's what matters. So when I go to schools and talk about this, you should see the sparkle in kids' eyes. They want these kind of smart homes, so they're willing to build it. And when you have people, or even girls, Women Who Code is all about women who want to do stuff. Exciting to see how these girls want to code and build the future. So really exciting times, and we are gonna make it happen all together.
Absolutely, that's a good point. The kids today would probably look at that Disney movie that I saw as so futuristic as probably very lame, and
exactly
it's not at all futuristic.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? All talks were so great. They're all so well explained, so I can understand why there's not like an overabundance of questions, because I feel like everything was really clear and really exciting. But we definitely have a little bit of time in case there's any more.
I definitely can't wait to try these technologies in the next years. Yeah, maybe while I can talk about our next events, and if anyone has any questions, they can think about it.
If you don't want to wait, join us. Just apply and come and be part of it.
I do have one more question, because it sounds like, one, there's a patent program through QWomen, but also that several of the speakers have patents. And so on a small overview, how does that work for like you as an individual contributor to have a patent to your name when you're working at Qualcomm, or does that happen? Or yes, words, please.
So yeah.
Go ahead, Chavi, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that having patent is almost like having a testimony to your work. There is no better award, I feel, than having a patent under your name, because that basically tells your breadth and depth of knowledge on the subject. And more than that, actually today also I was writing another IDF. So whenever I go to any presentation or anything that I do, it becomes like a North Star for me. So this is a guiding force. To be able to file patents, you have to know where the industry is going, what is already done, and what needs to be done. So basically, every day when you're doing your smaller task in Qualcomm, you are pretty much aware of in which direction you want to take steps to. So every design, every architecture, every code that I write is influenced by these patents that I'm trying to file as well.
That sounds awesome.
So I can take this, because I am on a different side. I'm on the marketing or product management side, and did some work, or my innovation happened during my engineering time, but we leverage that a lot here as well. So innovation is actually at the heart of everything we do at Qualcomm. And that is why you see that most of us have patents in some form, because it is encouraged. It is in your DNA. And in a way, that company culture that is set is how you start thinking and how you are incubated. It's like an idea getting incubated. So once you see that the people around you are brimming with ideas, you kind of go in and you start pouring in your ideas, and that's how it comes about. Eventually, it rolls up, and Qualcomm, as we know, is a world leader in patents. So it kind of rolls up, and you feel good that you are contributing to the company's success. So both ways, right? Win-win for everyone all around. So that's how it's happened. And in terms of how it happens, really, a lot of us actually, it doesn't happen in the work we do, but you need to set time aside for it. I know we've been asked this question before, and as Chavi also mentioned, it's not about hey, today my work entails me writing a patent, but set aside time. If you want to go do it, achieve that, set aside time for it. Block time on your calendar, think differently, brainstorm ideas with people, and then put it down. And then rinse, wash, repeat. It's iterative. It's very iterative, and it can get frustrating because a lot of your ideas get rejected. You see 2 successes, but there may be 100 failures behind. So you don't know what's gone in there. So keep pushing that, keep pushing that mile marker forward, and keep pushing yourself forward. So that's my answer to that.
And I was just going to highlight very briefly that the QWomen does have a dedicated program, the Patent Diversity Program, to basically make sure we are partnering with the intellectual property department within the Qualcomm to educate women, specifically women, about the process, what is really involved in filing an invention. So our goal is to definitely increase the number of Qualcomm women inventors.
So I wanted to add something. For me, actually, in order to get the patent that I have at the moment, it's because we're trying to solve a real problem that we're having. So we spend a couple of time thinking about how we can solve it. And once we found the solution, because I'm a hardware engineer, so we need to think about the solution, but we also need to implement it. So you see the whole process from the idea to the chip. So this is really powerful. But for me, it was really trying to solve a problem, come up with ideas, and then finally sign up for a patent. Yeah.
Thank you to all of you. And I want to say that the QWomen patent thing is like the women's group in a lot of companies are like, how do you actually help women in their careers? And I think that sounds like that's actually actionable. That's something that ends up on like individuals' names, right? No one can take that away. No one can take that credit once you have that. So I think that that's excellent, that it's an actionable portion of the program.
Measurable.
Yeah, I saw that in your introduction, Fatima, and I was really impressed. I was like, that's really a great program to encourage women to actually understand what the process is and submit a patent. So it was really great to see that.
Yes, we're very excited about it. We're socializing it across different departments within the Qualcomm to make sure that women do know, hey, it's not rocket science. All of you can do this. These are the steps that you go about making it possible.
Exactly. And thank you again to QWomen for another amazing event. I was really upset when Meetup was cutting the description and I couldn't add the full bio for the speakers because you all have like such amazing accomplishments. But, for who is interested in reading about your background, we have the full description in the comments of the event because I really think like you all deserve the recognition and, it would be good for everyone to see like, what you can achieve in your career. So thank you again for the amazing talks tonight.
Thank you, Luisa. Really, I think this does conclude our event for this evening. I do want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy personal and professional schedules to be with us tonight. I also want to thank to our wonderful speakers really for doing a fantastic job, and the Women Who Code directors for their outstanding support. We certainly look forward to partnering with you in the future again. I know last year was on site. This is virtual, but hopefully we'll get to have more on-site and virtual events again. So thank you again, and I wish you all a wonderful rest of the night and morning, I guess.
Thank you, Fatima, for coordinating on behalf of all of us and, literally ensuring that we did everything on time. She was our timekeeper, everything. So thank you.
Of
I
course.
agree.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this was a very valuable opportunity for all of us, as any QWomen program is. And I learned so much from our co-speakers and also from you, Fatima. You were on top of everything, and this was such a greatly organized event. Thank you so much to all the organizers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fatima, for giving me at least the opportunity to speak tonight. And thank you to Miki, Leslie, and Louisa for coordinating all these events. This is the first time for me, at least, to speak in public. But yeah, thank you. I learned a lot. Agree.
We learned a lot from all of you.
Yeah, we
That's
definitely
right.
did.
Definitely a lot.
Cheers to Women Who Code and best wishes for your next event.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. I'm
you.
going to stop the recording.
And I can